Welcome everybody to Mark Bajerski. Let's talk live. Let's talk all things crystals. Welcome. I got some lovely questions asked, so we could start pretty much straight away. So basically what I do is I pick up people's questions through the week and sometimes a month, and don't always have time to answer those questions with regards to crystals. Sometimes there are the deeper crystals that you can't just type and give an answer. And plus the fact I've got dyslexia, I'm crap at writing, and so I'm better at speaking. So I think this is wonderful. So what we're doing tonight is we're just having a chat about crystals and dispelling some of the notions of crystals, just getting down to basics, really, not being too, fluffy, or just being honest about crystals and what I've learned from them over these 20 years, how I've seen them help clients and stuff like that. And some people, like maybe you've been working with crystals many years, probably. You're watching this now on replay because I'm shadow banned, of course, so only a handful of people get to see my lives these days. But you're watching this now wondering, I'd like to ask a question. Hopefully some of these questions which were asked, I'm going to do maybe 45 minutes. I don't want to do too long. It's 8 o'clock here. I don't want to go on too much. Just maybe I can do them more regularly so you can watch them and learn a little bit yourself and actually see how you feel about crystals, what you got from them. That's really nice. You could maybe write it down underneath the comment section here. And I don't mean now, I mean after. So when you've finished, you could just write your comment down of what you felt about a certain crystal. So like for me, if you were to say, what crystal would you say was the most powerful crystal? I would automatically say Moldavite, because I levitated. Now, by saying that, you need to fill in the gaps. You need to really explain it in full detail how that happened. Or you would just think, oh my God, I'm going to buy some Moldavite and I'm going to float. But you have to know the backstory to it. You've got to understand where I was, what I did that day, the day before, and so on. So, but you can actually maybe, type some out saying, I had a labradorite and this is what happened to me. And it's really nice that people can see other people's amazing. I mean, with crystals, I often find that they're not really understood. They're mocked and ridiculed. They're not really understood at all. So let's try and come up with some great questions if you can. So I'd like to start off with this question, and then I'll take a question from you. So hold back on your question. So the first question, which was asked by Dorothy. Have you found the yellow brick road? So Dorothy says, do crystals have consciousness or a spiritual essence? So Mother Nature creates food. Mother Nature creates this beautiful earth that holds minerals, holds so many amazing things. It holds water, it holds oil. In Mother Earth, she creates so many things, and Mother Nature creates the frequency that is needed, or the vibration, or the perfect it's got to be frequency for the place where it is. So I think Mother Earth knows who's on the land and how that system of human spirit is, what's going on up there. And what it does is it figures out what it needs to vibrate those people into a frequency that will heal. Because everything of Mother Earth is a healing frequency, like sand, which isn't sand, it's crystals. Like Mother Earth's sea, which is not just sea, it's, again, all of these beautiful minerals and this healing and your cleansing. So I came up with this theory that wherever you are in the world, you are at the right place, because Mother Nature knows who you are, what you're going through, and how you need to heal and strengthen. Therefore, I'll give you a great example. I believe India, Pune, India, there needs to be in that particular area and the surrounding areas a lot of forgiveness for the past. A lot of people, I would say, hold on to a lot of issues and they need to clear them from themselves. So Mother Nature creates that vibration by creating in the ground. And when you go into the caves, you'll see that there is a high frequency. And where does it come from? It comes from crystals. So the minerals and crystals vibrate at the frequency to heal you. So you take from Pune, you take Cavansite. So Cavansite, as a healer that I didn't know anything about, I thought it was beautiful, started working with it on clients, and then all of a sudden you realize that this person is feeling better from feeling really bad about whatever happened to them because somebody had really upset them. And why is it that I was always going to Cavansite with somebody who had suffering, pain, guilt, a grudge, anger, frustration about a situation outside of themselves, and they couldn't heal from that? And I always brought Cavansite onto their heart, onto their throat, onto their third eye, onto their crown, and within an hour and 20 minutes, there'd be a different energy. So I came to understand this by every crystal that I touch, whether it be dioptase, which has its own unique, beautiful energy. Any crystal has a frequency that will vibrate you into some sort of healing. So I kind of took from that crystals are created by Mother Earth because she knows all, and she knows what to give us, whether it's food, whether it's herbs, plants, or whether it's crystals, and she knows how to heal us. So that's what she creates. That's how I see it. It might sound woo-woo to you, but it kind of matches quite well when you work with crystals and you realize that, wow, why am I always using that crystal for this? Why am I always using that crystal for that? And I didn't even realize until the client says to me after, I've been through a lot of pain because of this reason. I've been through a lot of pain for that. Like, so I've had a miscarriage. Wow, I use that same crystal. So then you realize that certain crystals are really good for miscarriages and so on. Certain crystals are great for grief and so on. So that's how I see it. So when the question is asked by Dorothy, do crystals have consciousness? I think everything that Mother Earth makes has consciousness. Every flower, every herb, every fruit has a consciousness, has a living life force around it. That life force is a prana, chi, energy. You can't have that energy field unless there is some kind of life. That is life. So whether you believe it's the tree that gives life to the fruit, quite possibly, or whether the flower is vibrating a healing, beautiful consciousness state, which I believe it is, there is life. And it's a singular life. It's a different energy life force. It's a spirit. And I truly believe that. So if I believe that, I've got to also believe that when crystal is made, there is some kind of consciousness. Do I believe it lives? I've come to understand, before I didn't, but now I've come to understand that it is some living entity. There is something that is incredible. it's like, how does it know how to heal people other than like, yes, it's great for that. I can tell you, Cavensite is fantastic for clearing suffering and helps forgiveness. But Cavensite also does a lot more, and it always targets the right place, just like many other crystals do. They know where to target the body that needs to be healed. It's almost like it knows where to go. It knows where to send its frequency to a certain place to heal. So if I was a betting man, I would say that crystals are a living consciousness. It's a spirit. It has energy around it. I don't see that energy disappear. I can hold this crystal and focus on that crystal and see an energy around it, just like I can when I look at trees or when I look at a rock or a mountain. That it's like looking at you. I see the energy field around you. When you die, there is no energy field. I have been in the company of people who have passed, and there is no energy field around them. It's gone. It's disappeared. There's no longer that aura around them. Well, that's right, because the aura is connected to the spirit. It is one. So, great question. And that's how I would answer it. I think it goes a lot deeper than that as well. But I think surface talking about that, it's pretty enough for me to say, check it out yourself. I mean, my God, I've seen crystals change. I've seen them grow. I've seen crystals do the most amazing things. And here's a really odd thing. I've seen a crystal, a beautiful crystal, and it was celestial quartz, I think. It was a big piece, and it broke in two while I was giving a healing session to somebody. And this somebody was in a bad place, I mean, really bad place, and it cracked in front of me, split, and one half just fell off the table. I put them both back on the table and looked at them, and they were both in different areas. And I don't know why, but I went, wow, there's energy coming off both of them. Like, so even if they break, they've now got the same energy around them. That's an interesting point. How could that be? Is it one, and is it one spirit, or is now split into two? I don't know, but that was interesting. And I see that around crystals. It's phenomenal. So when you say, oh, crystal's broken, should I throw it away? Because of my perception, because of what that day when I saw these two crystals, when I was giving a healing session to a client, I say, no, why would you throw them away? They're both working beautifully. Maybe you need to give one to somebody, or I don't know. But if you don't believe that, you're not happy, plant them, put them in Mother Nature, put them back into Mother Nature. So any questions? Do you want to ask me a question? I don't really have a favorite way, to be honest. What I do is I have crystals all over here, and depending on how I feel, I will choose a crystal for what I feel needs to be done that moment. So take, for instance, tonight, right? After this 45 minutes, an hour, I'll switch off, and before I go, I'll cleanse myself with I'll probably use my beautiful cleansing sticks, because I still want to be able to attune, because I've got things to do when I'm on my way back. So I'll be using the awakening sticks, which are Palo Santo, that will cleanse whatever I've picked up tonight. And there's nothing negative against you guys. When I'm doing this kind of work, you do pick up stuff. It's just part of the work. So I'll cleanse myself, and then I'll I'll walk through there and I've got probably about 150 crystals in there. And I'll probably just pick one up, sit down, hold it, and just contemplate the conversation tonight. If anything was said or anything that I said that I need to think about. So if I'm working with crystals and I've got, say, 20 that I need to put on the website and I want to put pure energy healing to them, I lie down on my bed or on here and hold 10 in each hand. And then I will see what I feel needs to be put into the crystals. So I will receive information. And as that information comes through, that's what I'll focus on more. So it's almost like I'm working with spirit to put more of that energy into them through myself as being open. So I have to open myself up to allow that energy to come through and focus on what I'm trying to put into the crystal. So it's an added memory for you when you've got it. There are times that I will sit down here. I've got crystals below here, and I'll put my feet on the crystals and I'll just meditate through breath work. So depending on how I want to heal myself that day or strengthen myself. So I'll use crystals, small crystals. I'll use tiny moldavite slices, less than 0.2 gram. And I'll just put a tiny bit of oil on and stick it on there, and it just stays on with the oil. And then I'll just close my eyes and do some breathing and then see what happens. I think if I'm to answer that question correctly, I would say that I never try to do something. I always allow the flow and for anything to happen. So I'm not rigid. I'm not ABC 1, 2, 3. I'm very much in the moment. And in that moment is the most exciting part for me. If I had to do everything by regimental, this is how you do it, I wouldn't do this anymore. I'd give up, because I can't, for one. I like to flow. And in that flow, you're given information. When you are rigid, it's hard for the spirit world to intervene and guide you in a different way, because when you're rigid, you're in your brain, because your brain is telling you ABC. And I've seen so many healers here come for a 4-day pure energy crystal course. And it's so obvious after the first year of teaching, it's so obvious that 90% what they do is they'll go for what their intuition goes for, which they believe is zero, meaningless, worthless. They'll stop themselves, they'll think about it and go for another crystal, when all the while I would sit them in the back and ask them to come with me and sit down and say, you know, when you were choosing the crystal for your client, yeah, what did you do? What did you feel? Well, I went for the rose quartz, and then I thought maybe that's not good enough, and then I thought I went for the moldavite. And I say, do you know what you did wrong? And they'll go, did I do something wrong? I said, no, I'm just asking you, do you think what you did was right? I don't know, really. Well, I'm here to say that the rose quartz was exactly what you needed for your client. And you went for the moldavite, and it was great, but what was asked of you is what you denied, what you turned away from. And that's the story of life. Most of us turn away from what we know we should be doing, and our mind kicks in and we do the wrong thing. A lot of people say that I fell in love with somebody and in my bloody heart, I followed my heart. And I'm like, no, you didn't, because your heart already told you it wasn't right, but you followed your head because you thought what you can do is change this person. And you know, normally they admit it and say, yeah, actually, that's actually bloody true. So the same with crystals. I always say, you know, just go with the flow. Don't question it, because soon as you question your choice, you then kind of ruin it, and you've made a mistake, because you could have had something even more beautiful. But that's how spirit gently nudges us. So we do it. Why do we do it? I don't know. And people don't want to say that because they're frightened of getting it wrong. It's like at school, you've been programmed. If you say, I don't know, you're a thick idiot, you're stupid. So you're frightened in here to say, I don't know. But actually, here's the most important lesson. If you say to me, I don't know why I went for that crystal, I would say, you've got it right. You've actually got it right. Wow, I've got it right. Even though I didn't know. Yes, you got it right. So I'm the opposite of how teaching in schools are, because we go with something else. And so that's a fascinating thing, right? So this is a question that's been asked many, many times to me. I don't have the same understanding of as crystal other healers and those who write books. Okay, I don't have that because I often hear, oh, you shouldn't put this crystal with that crystal. If that was the case, I would say yes. If I would have seen anything untowards or anything that were made like that shouldn't happen, you shouldn't have put them together, I would have said, because I would have seen it. What I see, and listen, this is to me common sense, okay? This is a crystal that vibrates. This vibrates at its highest frequency, which is a deep inner peace in the mind, body, soul, okay? This is a crystal that will help you find your peace. It vibrates at a frequency of peace, okay? So dioptase is a peace crystal. It will bring peace, okay? If I was to say this on me here, which is called Herkimer Diamond vibrates at a frequency of what I would say clarity. What it does is it clears away anything in the mind. It gives you clarity. It heals the eyes. It heals the third eye. It heals the crown chakra. It brings clarity. It clears away any negativity in here. Okay. The two crystals are completely different in frequency. They don't hurt each other. They don't cross each other. They're in two different rooms. Just like when you get on your radio and you turn to radio 1. Radio 1 comes on, and then you turn the station and you've got radio 2. Here's the same thing. They're both working at different frequencies, and they don't interfere. They don't bang into each other. They don't cause any issues. I have never seen 2 crystals or 10 crystals that caused issues. All I saw was each crystal has its own frequency and it works a certain way. Now, if I was to put this crystal on you, it might work differently, because it's breaking down certain patterns that you, from being born to now, are completely different from me. So when I've got it, it's working on a different frequency to heal certain things in my body, to bring in peace. So it'll work on you in a different way, because what it might be looking at is that you've got some great trauma that's been burnt into your memory that it needs to clear. With me, it might be something completely different. It might be something that I saw and it's burnt into my eye section, so it's working on my eyes. But ultimately, it's working to bring peace. Ultimately, this is working to bring clarity. So I used to wear between 20 and maybe 50 crystals when I was a full-time crystal healer. People in the village will tell you, they used to think I was crazy because I had so many crystals around my neck. Why? Well, they didn't know, but my clients did. So my crystals used to hang right down to my belly button, and they were all on individual string. Okay, so I had them on string. So what I would do is I would start working on my client, and then I would close my eyes and just feel which crystal felt right. I'd take it off and lay it onto the client. So my client would have crystals on them, all working in their own unique way. So to answer your question was, can we wear a lot of different crystals at the same time? Yes, absolutely. So, okay, I've been wearing obsidian, nice crystal, to stop absorbing other people's energy. So obsidian, Yeah, makes a lot of sense. My just gets worse. Right. So no obsidian. I like Emma. I would recommend wearing Tektite. Tektite, black Tektite is going to be better for you if that's what you want to do. Okay, because Tektite absorbs. It's the only crystal that I've ever seen absorb other people's energy and your own negative energy. So it's basically a sponge. Obsidian, I've never seen that. I've never seen obsidian work as a sponge, but I've seen it work as a deflector. So what it does, it tries to deflect by its energy field so it doesn't come into you. But I wouldn't use that knowing what you've just said to me about your anxiety. I would be using Tektite, but I also would be using a piece of Herkimer diamond. So that's why I have on my website, and why I had made, I had those two crystals made for that specific reason, because people had to get rid of this energy that was vibrating within themselves, that the Herkimer diamond would give you that clarity, but at the same time, anything that you or other people are targeting at because of their weakness or their issues would be absorbed by the Tektite. So that would be my recommendation. Well, I'm not always right, and I don't have any ego. I just tell you what I've learned, and I'm not always right. Some people will say it didn't work for me, and well, that would be my only go-to. I can't fix everybody, but I can definitely tell you what I learned through my work, and I'll share that with you. Whether that works or not, I don't know, but that's how I work. I'm not a flip-flopper. I just tell you how I worked and how whatever worked with crystals, I would always then say, this is my recommendation. What crystals would you recommend for children who are struggling at school? 2 crystals. The first one is pink petalite and the other one is pink opal. I always found that crystal with children used to help them through the most challenging times, whether it was being bullied, whether it was just challenging people at school. Pink petalite, wearing it and them holding it, keeping it on through school really worked, really helped. And unfortunately, some schools are demonic, real demonic, and they won't allow you to wear a crystal. Therefore, I would tell them to put it in their pocket. And then this is what I would tell young girls, keep it in your pocket at school. And if anybody makes you feel bad, put your hand in your pocket and just hold a crystal. Even if it's for a few minutes, just hold it and you'll feel better. And that really worked. Hi, Jennifer. Practicing distant healing currently, and lately I am noticing that I am drawn to use crystals. It's inevitable. Crystals are an extension of who you are, because what happens is that crystals, for some reason, it's hard to explain. For me, when I started healing, I just started healing, and then I started seeing colors around people. Then I started noticing other things, and it was just a natural thing that happened. And then I started feeling more things, and then crystals came into my life. It's weird, it just happens that way. It's a natural process. That's normally a sign of a good healer, because it happened to me naturally. They just came, and then I started working with them and never stopped. This, anything that raises the frequency when you're doing healing and absent healing is a beautiful, wonderful addition and extension. And if it means that oils help you more, breathing helps you more, feathers help you more, cleansing with negative energy sprays heal you more, whatever works to strengthen you and clear negative energy, is you're going to have better outcome for your customers. So I normally have, if I'm doing absent healing, which I don't do anymore, I'm retired, but if I was doing that, if a client sent me a message, I need some healing, I'd say, okay, I'll see you at 4:00. I'd get maybe 10 crystals on my desk, and then I'd switch on and I'd ask my client not to say anything. And I just asked them to close their eyes. I'd have the music on, and then I would instinctively go to a certain crystal and I'd put it in my hand and I'd hold it in my hand, and then I'd give healing. Or I'd put the crystal down next to me after I've held it in my hand and then give healing. So the crystals work with you. They really do. You can actually you could even hold a crystal in your hand and send healing as well. It's beautiful as well. You can do that. There's so many things, you just got to follow your guidance. And yeah, beautiful. Hi, Matt. My daughter and her husband lost everything they owned in the flood. I'm sorry about that. I don't. I'm sorry. You mean with crystals? This is crystal night, right, guys? I hope you realize this is all about crystals. And I'm wondering, are you asking whether it's a crystal to wear? I mean, for me, if this was my daughter, I'd be sending them probably pyrite. That's probably what I'd send. Or maybe I'd send golden healer, golden rutile, something with gold in to bring back abundance. And I'd be sending them abundance oil for them to be using it. But, a lot of prayers would be sent daily if it was my daughter going through that. And I'd be helping to, encourage them. And yeah, it's very, very difficult, very difficult. And I'm really, really sorry, Lynn, really sorry that the world is cruel. People who create these things are cruel. I don't believe they're all Mother Nature. I believe, although people say it's Mother Nature, we're realizing now more and more. Anyway, stop, Mac. All right. Yes, Moldavite trios, beautiful. Can't go wrong. I just ordered Florentine. What beautiful. Yes, very good. It's fantastic. I use it as well. You're most welcome. I can advise on the crystal for seizures. Okay, well, that's an interesting one. Now, if I was talking to a client and they talked about seizures, I would be trying to understand when, how. I'll be trying to attune to them what's going on. So, like, there are so many crystals you can use for this. When I think about certain crystals on how to heal, I have to be careful because I don't want to suggest something without really truly understanding what it is, unless I'm there with them and then I'm feeling it and I'm really getting really deep into why this has happened. Seizures, for instance, for doggies. I used to have clients with doggies that had seizures as well. And that was something that I found very, very interesting. And there's a number of crystals that can help with seizures, but it depends why their seizure is happening. So I'm reluctant to say anything because I don't want to mislead. But for sure, if you start with clear quartz and maybe you look at something like that and see if it helps and makes a difference, then if that is the case, you think, oh, this is really definitely helping, you can then move on to other crystals as well. But I always like to start with clear quartz and then move on and try another, but don't get rid of that crystal. So what I mean is I add two, because seizures aren't just one thing. This is the problem. There's, for me, it relates to more than, it's 3 or 4 issues, or maybe 5, and then when it all comes together, it's too much, and then something happens. So I'm not a doctor. I don't like to say these things like I know. I just know that whenever I worked with clients, I always started with clear quartz, and then I moved on to shamanic quartz. I'd put shamanic quartz, and then it'd be I think it's CC. It's the Chinese quartz. So I'd use 3 or 4 quartz. So yeah, again, like I'm not wanting you to buy all of them, but just start with one. It's a difficult question when we're going into stuff like this. So again, yeah, stroke recovery is an interesting one. For some people, it works very, very differently, and depending on what it was. So, like you see, we've been brainwashed to believe that we're trying to heal the issue, which is a stroke, when we're not. Seizure isn't the issue. We need to look at the root cause. So we need to find what that root cause of the stroke was. So 9 times out of 10, it's through stress. But what stress? What was the issue that started it? And it could be an issue of a situation that was unresolved. It could have been a medical issue. I can't say on here. I can't even talk anymore. So I have to stop. I can't talk. I'll lose my channel. This is how bad it is. I can't tell you what I want to tell you, because I've got no more chances. If I start talking about health, I have to, I mean, spiritually speaking, I can talk about emotion and spirit stuff, but health, they're going to take me off, guys. And people are watching, ready to send it in to take me off. That you have no idea how many people are wanting to take me off, get rid of me. So I've got a group of haters who are my best watchers, best followers. They hate to what they love to hate to watch me. And so I've got to be careful. I'm sorry, guys. Maybe it wasn't the best of moves. Yeah, let's keep away from health, because I don't want to lose my channel. I just like holding a big tektite. Smaller tektites, they go into my pocket, and wearing a tektite, depending on where it is the answer. So higher we go, we're healing the higher energy. Lower we go, we're healing the stomach. Doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be massive, just like Moldavite, but it needs to feel right. You've got a joint thing going on. When you've got a crystal and it feels right, you're already opening yourself to clearing it. If you think, oh, it's too small, it's not going to work, guess what? It ain't going to work, because you've just shut off. So you have to be happy with the crystal. So choose your crystal, what feels right. But when it comes to like Moldavite, like people say, oh, I should get a bigger piece. Like you don't need a big piece. But if you think you need a big piece, get a big piece. So the number one crystal in the world is you. That's absolute. And when you are vibrating at a high frequency, you are more powerful than any crystal in the world. There's nothing to touch your power and energy. You can basically power up a whole row of houses. That's how powerful you are. So when you realize that, and you truly realize that, when you're a healer and you realize, wow, you really can generate this amazing energy. What I do is I see myself as a dynamo. So how do I cleanse crystals? If I go to a local crystal store and I fall in love with a crystal, I buy it. Then I put it in a bag and I bring it here. I sit down and I put it in my hands, but I make sure I am vibrating at a high frequency. I'm feeling really good. I won't touch that crystal till I'm feeling really good. And I know when I feel good because I'll know to go to that crystal to pick it up. So when I feel really good, I'll pick the crystal up, sit down, and I'll hold it in my hand and I will put memory into that crystal. And by putting memory into the crystal, you're adding to the energy and the frequency. So how do you use crystals? You use crystals when you're feeling not so good, the crystal will heal you. When you're feeling really good, then you hold that crystal and give it the same energy back. Therefore, you are always being the generator. Now, do you need to hold it in your hand to do it? No, you don't. But if you're doing it, you are adding the new energy and more energy because you're opening up into it. If you're wearing it naturally and you're feeling happy and you just start laughing, right? There's a reason when you start laughing, a lot of people put their hand on their heart, is because that is your PowerPoint. And that when you receive by laughing, it comes through and you are giving your heart, again, energy, same as a crystal. You put it in your hand, you laugh or you feel joy, you're giving that energy into the crystal, which is always there. Do crystals need cleansing? I don't believe they do, but people love to cleanse them. And if you feel good about cleansing your crystal, cleanse it. Is cleansing going to make any difference? I'm sure it makes a difference. If I put a crystal in the sun, will it make a difference? I believe anything positive like the sun is going to give it beautiful energy and it's going to help tremendously. If I put my crystal in flowing river, is it going to help? I believe it will. If I put my crystal in salt water or the sea, will it help? I believe it will. So don't say no to anything. But what I do try and recommend is saying, stop worrying about crystals that you need to cleanse them and clear them all the time, because you don't. But when you do, lovely. But when you don't worry about it. Relax, don't panic, because you are the most powerful healing in the world. So you heal your crystals by holding them and giving good energy to them. You give more energy, more memory, and it becomes stronger and stronger. What I've noticed with my crystals over the years, I've got some crystals here that are 12, 13, 14, 15 years old, like even older, that they've grown stronger. So if I give, I've got a beautiful piece, I mean a really stunning piece of citrine, natural citrine. If anybody comes and says, "Oh, I love your crystals," I'll give them, I'll just put that in their hand and they're just blown away. It's like, oh my God. And like, I've had that for years. Have I cleansed it? No, I haven't. But because I've worked with it as a healer, and when I'm doing my absent healing, because 3 times a day, sometimes 2 times a day, these are my books. I put people's names in here and I put these books here. I'll take that crystal and I'll hold it, or whatever crystal, and I'll start giving pure energy healing to everybody that I'm in this book. And you can make some really powerful crystals by doing that. So that would be something I would suggest. But yeah, do anything you want, cleanse, clear crystals, whatever feels right, just do it. I have things that I won't do because I don't feel right, and some things that I do. I used to use salt all the time. Now I like to have my beautiful Herkimer diamond over there, which is a big piece. And when I want to just give more good energy into them, I'll just put them on top of my Herkimer diamond. But everybody, you can use a clear quartz to do it. I used to use this beautiful clear quartz. And then I use my Moroccan geode, and I used to put them all in there. So whatever feels right to you, just follow that. Follow what feels right to you. And it's not that you did anything wrong because you're moving on to something else. It's just a different energy. And if some people are static, some people don't change, and that's okay. But a lot of people change and do different things, and that's me. I change I'm always doing different things, and I'm learning and experiencing, and I'm trying to figure out what's going on out there and what can we do to change with it. So these things are important to me. So what kind of crystal should I buy to cleanse energy at home? I just think tektite, a big tektite is incredible. So I've got big tektites everywhere, and they are naturally an absorber of negative energy. It's just like putting a lemon in your house, except tektite's more expensive. So I have big pieces like this, and I have them next to my bed, under my bed, at the sides, up on top here. I've got them all over. So I have little pieces of tektite that I put in corners. So I have tektites that go into the corners of the house. I also have them in drawers, in these drawers. So I put them all over. Tektite is fantastic. I don't understand that, Danny. What does that mean? It's a little bit spiritual boundaries blocker. Again, I'm not sure where you're coming from. You have to be a bit more specific. Boundaries meaning spiritual boundaries. I don't know what that means. Sorry, I'm pretty basic as trying to understand stuff. Maybe you could explain a little bit more in detail. I feel energy crystals. Yes, right. They do grow stronger. Absolutely. That's why I get confused sometimes when other crystal healers say that I need to cleanse them. When I'm working with crystals, they get stronger. They absolutely get stronger. Like somebody will say, Mark, like at the beginning of my healing career, I wasn't really into crystals. But people would come to me and say, can I buy that crystal from your neck? And I'm going, well, it's secondhand. It's not brand new. Because like I used to have shops, I wouldn't sell secondhand if it wasn't a secondhand shop. And I've used it. And they'd say, no, I want that crystal. And I'm like, why? Because I bought a crystal off you once before that you used and worked with. And I can't explain it. I just cried when I put it on. And I don't want a new. I don't want to go to a shop and buy one. I want one what you've worked with. That's how it started. That's how my career started. And it's been like that ever since. So now I'll put crystals on all day. And once I've worked with them for a few hours here, a few hours there, and it adds up to like, I'm always comfortable over 20 hours. If it's 30, 40, 50 hours, I'm like, these are going to be amazing. That's why when people buy my crystal, many people will say, I'm not just saying it, but I'd rather buy your crystal. And like, okay, that confirms that what I'm doing is right. That was 20 years ago. And I'm still doing the same thing, and people still confirm it to this day. They'll cry and say they felt something that they didn't feel in a crystal store. And I'm saying that's because I've worked with it, not ego. It's because I've worked with it. And I would suggest you work with yours and it gets stronger. So it's getting a bit dark now. Thank you so much. It means the world. It keeps me going, really, or else I'd just end up, to be honest, there's been times, and this is the truth, right? I won't lie to you. There's been times that I've thought, you know what, Mark Bajerski's stopping, and I'm just going to sell crystals, just like a crystal store, but it's online. So forget all that. I'll just sell crystals. But I keep going because people say, I bought one of your crystals, Mark, and I'm telling you, it feels different from any crystal that I bought from a crystal store. And I'm like, okay, keep going. Because if there is a point where people say to me, I don't feel anything, I just stop doing what I do. And what I'll do is just buy crystals and just sell them. And they'll be a lot cheaper. for sure they'll be a lot cheaper because I put a lot of hours into it. And that's how I, get to pay for all my staff. And that's how it works. But it's been up till now, it's been fantastic. And I'm the first one to throw the towel in if anything doesn't work. So appreciate that. Yeah, like I said, I just hope everybody is happy. And if anybody isn't happy, right, Mark Bajerski does not leave you high and dry. I will always help. And my team always put you first, always. And I say this, don't ever let anybody down. Unless you're an absolute arsehole, unless you're a nasty piece of work, I say to myself, don't even talk to that person. If people are nice, and do you know, imagine if people were nice. If people were nice, they don't realize how much more they would get, how more kinder we are. When people are nasty and start swearing and we'll still be nice to them. But if you were just nice instead of reacting in a negative way because you're going through whatever, or, most of the time when that happens, which is very rare, these people are con merchants. They're absolute con merchants, and they're just trying it on. And we know it. We know they're trying it on, and we appease them, but then they try it again, and you think, okay, this person's just really nuts, and that's it. But I think we are one of the kindest crystal websites in the world because we care about what we do. We care about what we work with. We care about what we do, and we do our best to help everybody. We don't leave people. We don't think about, how much. We're not interested in that. We want to please you. We want to make you happy. That's always been the most important thing for us. And it shows because one of the girls always sends a message every day. Have you seen this message? Have you seen this message? Always beautiful. I don't have time to read them all, but they're incredible. If I was to put them all, nobody would believe it. Nobody would believe the messages that we get in 1 year. You wouldn't believe it because we're kind and we believe in what we do. So, yeah. Yeah, that's a big thing with me, and it's been a difficult one over the years, and it's always been a challenge. I remember I really met this really nice guy from. It's a great story. I met this guy from. Oh God, I can't remember where it is now. Anyway, it's a beautiful, beautiful place. And it's where beautiful crystals come from. And then we struck up a really good relationship to begin with. And I started getting some beautiful pieces from him. Beautiful pieces. And it took about, I'd say 3 years. So I'd got beautiful pieces off him from where he comes from. And he'd always get me lovely pieces, but something changed. And something didn't feel right anymore. And I don't know why. Even the crystals were beautiful. I just said, no, thanks. Just kept saying, no, thanks. And then it turns out, I realized why I said no, thanks. Because this guy had beat his wife up really bad. And it's funny, but he was lovely. And he was lovely to his wife, but something happened. And it was due to religion. And I realized, wow, why didn't I buy off him? Because he was presenting me with some beautiful stuff. And I says, no, I'm all right at the moment. No, I'm okay. I don't need anything at the moment. But then it presents itself. And then I found out through a colleague that he was actually going to get prosecuted and possibly sent to prison. But it's not, the person is important who I buy from. It's important that they've got integrity and they're kind and they listen and they love crystals like me. I don't buy from China. I don't buy from India. I don't buy from Etsy, eBay, any of these companies. I don't buy from anybody who sends me messages online, and I get messages online a day, maybe about 50 a day, offering me crystals. Don't do it. I just don't do it no matter what, because I've got to have that same feeling as the person I'm buying off. I've got to know that they love that crystal, whether it's got anything to do with I just feel I want to work with people with integrity. That's it. I've always done that. And if I will always give somebody a chance, like crystals, like sometimes, you've got to be so careful. That's why I've got my meter reading here of crystals. I've got to check every crystal, even though I know everybody. And, sometimes mistakes are made. Sometimes batches are mixed. So there wasn't long ago where somebody was saying they took their ring to a jeweler's. That's always a dangerous thing because they think they know everything. And that bunch of crystals that I bought, the jeweler said that they weren't turquoise. Anyway, so we got one sent off, and yes, it was turquoise. And it wasn't the exact one, but it was from the same batch. But I've had this time and time again of jewelers thinking that they know exactly what something is, and they don't. They haven't a clue. And people then listen to them and believe them, and then we're up in shit creek, we're going like, oh my God, but these things happen. It's just like the Moldavite. I had people saying to me, yours isn't Moldavite. You have no idea of the message that came back just because I wanted to be sure. Just because I wanted to be 100%. I'm even questioning my beautiful man that I've been buying off. Look, this here, the saying is not right. And I knew it was right, but I wanted him to know. Just send it me, Mark. I'll get it. This was it. I mean, it's only happened once, but that was the Moldavite, and then I had it, I had it sent off, and exactly the place where it came from. It's Moldavite, and that cost me, I don't know, 120 euros. But does it matter? Does it make any difference? Not really. Once somebody's made their mind up, they made their mind up. Why? Because somebody's told them that wasn't Moldavite. And I said, who was it who told you it wasn't Moldavite? Oh, it was a jeweler. So, a little bit of knowledge sometimes is really dangerous. So, but there you go. These are some of the things that we work through. These are like really rare one-off things. We sell like 20,000 crystals a year. So I'm talking about one in like 4,000 crystals. We might have somebody saying something, or 5,000. It's like really rare. But still, these things happen, and you do your best to resolve the situation in a loving, kind way. So there you go. That's my chat tonight. What time are we on? We're on nearly 1 hour. We'll do this again because I enjoyed it. I wish you all the best. I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question right or I didn't understand it. I'm just a simple guy, and I do my best. So from my heart to yours, thank you for everything. Thank you for trusting in my family business, markbajerski.com, incense oils and crystals. Have a beautiful evening. Love you all. Take care. I'm going to go home. Going to cleanse now, do some meditation, go home and rest. And you do the same. Have a beautiful evening, guys. Take care. Talk to you.